pharmacy. Right. To give you a better idea on pharmacy graduate programs available in the USA. And for that, it's my great pleasure to introduce our speaker, Dr. Fatima Brakta. So Dr. Fatima Brakta is clinical pharmacy manager and director of a postgraduate year pharmacy residency program at East Jefferson General Hospital. Dr. Brakta also holds a gratis appointment with Louisiana State University School of Medicine in New Orleans as clinical assistant professor. She's a board-certified pharmacotherapy specialist. And to mention a little bit her impressive background, Dr. Brakta obtained her Doctor of Pharmacy degree at Xavier University of Louisiana and completed a postgraduate year one in pharmacy practice residency at Oxnard Health System in New Orleans in 2007. She also worked as clinical pharmacist and then went to academia as a clinical assistant professor at Xavier University College of Pharmacy. In 2014, she joined a University Medical Center of New Orleans, where she worked as their infectious disease clinical pharmacist and co-coordinated the hospital's antimicrobial stewardship program and was eventually promoted to clinical pharmacy manager. With all this huge background and her phenomenal expertise, I'm sure that we will learn a lot from Dr. Brakta today. So please don't hesitate to interact with her as much as possible. You can leave your questions in the chat. And if you want to ask your question directly to Dr. Brakta, you can raise your hand and I will let you ask your question. Dr. Brakta wants a very interactive webinar, so please don't hesitate to ask your question during the presentation. And pour les personnes qui préfèrent le français, n'hésitez pas à écrire vos questions dans le chat et je vais faire la traduction. Donc vraiment, il faut profiter au maximum. So, Dr. Brakta, thank you very much for the organization of this fantastic webinar, and it's all yours now.
All right, thank you so much for that nice presentation. So today I wanted to talk about pharmaceutical graduate programs available in the US and just education. We're getting education because we want to have jobs, you know, later on. We want to sustain ourselves economically. And so I wanted to kind of show for pharmacists, go over the different fields. So for pharmacists in the US, as you could see this graph depicting, the pharmacy growth is going to go up by about 2% in the next 10 years, which is less than the other occupations. If you compare it to other occupations, which would sit right at about 5% in that 10-year period from 2021 to 2031. But if you compare that to the other healthcare diagnosing or treating practitioners, so here we're talking about our physicians, our PAs, our mid-level practitioners, you'll see that their growth is going to be about 9%. And as we know, as a pharmacist, our jobs kind of like go in parallel with those types of practitioners because they'll be prescribing medications and we will be the ones reviewing those medications and dispensing those medications. So the demand is going to be at about increase of just about 2%. However, the areas where pharmacy will be needed is probably going to be in the hospitals and the clinics, as you can see here in the US. And this is a trend that in the US is not necessarily happening in third world countries like Algeria, or it's happening in the West, where pharmacy is heavily being integrated in the healthcare of patients. So it's becoming a multidisciplinary approach, as opposed to just kind of like having pharmacies sit on the retail side dispense. Because in the next 10 years, and this has already been changing here, is that pharmacists are not needed in retail anymore. There's a lot of online pharmacies. People can fill their prescriptions online. So with technology, the advent of technology, that career path is becoming less and less of a needed job market. However, pharmacists are more and more needed in the hospital settings and the clinic settings because we're there working with the physicians hand in hand and mid-level practitioners, helping them prescribe the right medications from the get-go, as opposed to sitting in the back end and dispensing them. So that's where the need is going to be eventually. And then I
So-
wanted to kind of
sorry.
look at somebody had a question?
Yes, so we have a question in the chat, so it's in French, and it's also a question that I had. So for example, for like Algerian student who wants like to pursue their studies in the USA. So here, how can they like really switch? And here the question in the chat is about the equivalency of the diploma. I don't know if you have like an idea on how is it
How to
possible
obtain
to,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I actually have that coming up in the next few slides. Because I
Okay,
know that was
perfect.
going to be a question. There is a path to getting to working here, and it's very easy. I know a lot of people that have done it, but we'll go over that in a minute. And then I wanted to kind of, I'm sorry, let me go back. Oops. How am I supposed to go back to the previous slides? Oh, there we go. So medical scientists, and this is where that research kind of like PhD master's bracket falls in. And so I kind of like wanted to compare to see where is so medical scientists, which include those PhD, those people that do research, those people that conduct studies, those people that work with industry and find what's the right dose, what's the right, concentration, that's where this is falling in. And as you can see, the growth here is a bit more than the practice of pharmacy. That's about 17% growth for the next 10 years. Compared to life sciences overall, it's only at 11%. And the reason for this is because of the population continuing to age. We have those baby boomers coming to the aging side, and you have increasing rate of chronic disease, growing global travel, which facilitates spread of diseases. And this also is dependent on, unfortunately, on federal grants, which can affect availability of these types of opportunities. So as you can see, this is way higher. And I could see like for my foreign graduates, this is definitely an area that they can look into because this is a growing job market for them. And then, sorry, let me go back. Yeah, so I wanted to show that. There is another category. I thought I had a slide on here, but it's not showing. It might be, let me see, it might be all the way at the end. There is another job category that I want to touch on. I don't have it on here, unfortunately. It's not one of the slides here. So let me go backwards. That job category is medical management, healthcare management. And the growth there is actually way higher than the research. I'm sorry. Yeah, the growth. Oh, there it is. Oh, this is the one, but the graph is wrong actually. So I apologize for that. The growth for this one is actually 27%. So disregard this graph. For medical healthcare science managers, it's about 27, 28% growth there. That's even higher. And the reason for that is because, like I mentioned earlier, baby boomers, there's going to be a need for more facilities. So you're going to need more quality managers, more healthcare managers. So those are your masters of business administration in healthcare. And also with the widespread of electronic health records, there's going to be a lot of need for that as well, for how to manage those electronic healthcare records as well. So practice of pharmacy. So this is where a pharmacist has the option to either go into retail or hospital. So how do you get your equivalency as a foreign graduate? This is actually well established here in the US. It's and the way you can get that, it may take, I want to say, a couple of years, maybe minimum 2 years or 3 years if you really discipline yourself. And the good thing about this is you don't need to go to a university and get a degree. You're not paying money out of your pocket for education. You can get what they call the FPGE certificate, which I'll go over in a little bit. And then they want to make sure you are proficient in English, and they require a certain score with the TOEFL. It's actually on the higher bracket. After you have that, you're good to go. All you need to do is the specific state licensure, to get the specific state licensure to practice pharmacy. So just to go over what the foreign pharmacy graduate equivalency exam or certificate is, it's basically an exam, and it basically asks basic science questions, all that you've studied for the last 4 years or 5 years in Algeria. And it's the same. It's like mostly basic sciences. It has a little bit of applied cases. and it's about a 4-hour test. There are study guides available for this. There's actually lots of Facebook groups of people sharing information and on how to take this test and whatnot.
Sorry, I have a question. So for this, do you really recommend to the students to prepare for the test, like really read and yeah?
Yes. Give me a minute. I'm gonna find the charger for my computer. It's about to die. Basically, for this one, yes, there are books that you could use to study for it. There's actually courses you can sign up for, and I definitely recommend to prepare for it. You have the knowledge. The graduate from all of the graduates that come from Algeria, they have the knowledge. It's just a matter of preparing for the test. And then after that, after you get the certificate, the FPGE certificate, like I said, you have to do the TOEFL for English proficiency, and they actually require a high score. They require, especially for the speaking section, I believe 26, which is on the higher bracket. They want to make sure that those people that are coming here to work, they know how to communicate with the patients and the healthcare providers. And then after that, in the US, each state has its own regulation as far as practice, especially for pharmacy. So there's 2 exams that need to be taken for that. There is a law exam. So each state has its own laws and regulations regarding pharmacy medications. And then there is another exam that's similar to FPGE, but it's a little bit more applied. So it's more cases. So you're looking at, it's giving you more cases. It's giving you, okay, a scenario. This patient has hypertension. How do you treat it? What's the best treatment to use for this specific patient? So that's it. And then after that, you get your license and you're good to go. All you need is to have the residency to be able to work here. I know a lot of people that have done this process and they're doing really well. So this is just the TOEFL. I'm going to share these slides with everyone, but I wanted to give you a study guide that's available to use for that. And I know there's a lot of resources out there for this type of test. So again, as I mentioned earlier, each state has its own standards of pharmacy practice. So specific law tests need to be taken for that state to be licensed and to be able to work in that state. For instance, for me, I have a license to work in Louisiana. If I want to go work in another state, I would have to take a specific exam for that state on laws and regulation before I can practice in that state.
Sorry, Fatima, you have a question in the chat. So the person is asking if you can practice in the US if you have the BCPS.
Oh, okay. So BCPS is not, it's kind of like an extra training or certificate type of thing, but you can't practice with it. You have to have a license. It's good to have BCPS because it kind of like, if you have BCPS, you could definitely get your FPGE and your other tests because you have way more knowledge with that BCPS degree. Or it's not a degree, it's more of a kind of like a certification or specialization in pharmacotherapy. So, the options here, like I said, for practice would be retail. We have huge chains here. We do have like private community-owned pharmacies, but the bulk of pharmacies that you'll see here are chain-owned, like Walgreens, Walmart. Those are the big ones, CVS. Or you'd go into a hospital setting, a clinic setting. Like I mentioned earlier, this clinical pharmacy field is growing tremendously here in the US, and that's my specialty. So I had to do extra training to work in that setting. I had to do a residency program, which is now something that's available in Algiers as well. It's an additional 4 years training, and they get a doctorate degree at the end of it. Here in the US, it's a little bit different. We get a doctorate degree from the get-go, and then like for instance, for me, since I wanted to do more kind of like patient care type of job, then I had to do a residency program. And that lasted me about a year to do that. And with that residency program, I have the option to either teach with it, which is what I did. I taught for about 5 years, and then I went into practice. Any other questions so far? So online job boards here, LinkedIn, Glassdoor, Career Builder, this is what's available for us here. I really, really want to stress for my Algerian counterparts to have that LinkedIn, make your connections. I'll talk about that in a little bit. You want to build that network because that's really important for your career. Graduate programs, I want to talk about that. So we have the AACP, American College of Pharmacy Education, ACPE here in the US, which kind of like regulates or kind of like keeps tab of all of the colleges that offer pharmacy or pharmaceutical related graduate programs, not only doctor of pharmacy, but also master's and PhD programs. And I want to go into that website, so give me a minute. So I can show you, because that kind of gives you all that you need if you want to start looking for which program you want to go into. I'm trying to get out of presentation mode. How do I get out of presentation mode? Let's see. Having a hard time here. Okay, there we go. So I wanted to show you, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So this website here shows you all the different programs that are available. This is the graduate directory programs. It's called PharmGrad, Pharmacy Graduate Application Services. And basically you can search by location. You can see if you want to do distance learning, online learning. There are a lot of online learning or programs available for people to pick from. You can pick location, which state you want to go into. I want to also mention, this is something that a lot of people don't know. There's only one school. So all of these schools are in the US. They're all accredited by the AACPE that I mentioned earlier, American Colleges of Pharmacy Education. There is one that's available that's international, and that's the University of Lebanon. And a lot of people don't know this. This is actually accredited by ACPE. And their degree is equal to a degree that you get here in the US. I know a few people that went to this university and they come here and they work and it's no issue. They don't have to do any equivalency or anything like that. But I wanted to show you what they offer. So let's look at that. Clear the filter. Let's see. Go back. So they offer masters in pharmaceutical development and management. They also have a doctor of pharmacy school, which is 4 years. So it's not showing up on here because this is mainly for graduate directory. But if you go to the doctor of pharmacy programs, it will show Lebanese American University. It has a doctor of pharmacy degree seeking program as well. So, and then if you go look, let's say I'm in Louisiana, so I want to show you what's available in Louisiana. You can also look it up by whether you want to do it online or in person. Let's clear this. I want to go to Louisiana. So in Louisiana, this is the school that I went to. They do offer a master's program in pharmaceutical sciences. What I like about this, because I was looking through it, you can click on it and it will show you the contact individual, what do you need to apply. So it shows you degree requirements. So credit hours is 30. And then if you go back here, it'll show you if you need a GRE for this. So in this one, it says, yes, you do. And then you need a TOEFL as well. And then it shows you what you need. Do you need a letters of recommendation to apply? And then other requirements, GPA. So they require at least a 3.0 GPA. They do have financial support. So percentage of students receiving financial support is about 75%. So that's usually a stipend for research, assistantship, or other types of stipends.
Sorry, I have a question. So I can see that there is many different programs. So how can you advise students to select the good one? Is it depending on the region?
Depends on what they're interested in and whether they have the money or not. And, you know, it's a lot of factors involved here. It's really hard to find programs that are funded. I mean, it depends what that individual is looking for. You know, are they looking for something specific, a specific area, a specific concentration? It's really up to the individual. It's a lot of information. The other thing that I wish this website can give me is if it can filter it by funded programs, because I know a lot of people are like, you know, I don't have money, but I'd like to go to a program that's funded. I wish it did that, but it doesn't. You have to search one by one.
And the financial support, is it like difficult to get, or is it highly competitive, or
again, it depends on how many people are applying.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many applications are out there for this specifically? Pharmaceutical sciences, I can tell you it's not something that a lot of US students like to do. We get
really? Why?
foreign graduates for this. I can tell you from my experience when I was working in the pharmacy school at Xavier, they were looking for someone to teach pharmaceutical sciences. Actually, they were looking for someone to teach pharmacoeconomics. And that's an area that Americans don't like to get into as well.
Yeah.
And they were able to bring a faculty member that came from China. She came here in the US. She did a master's degree in pharmacoeconomics, and they sponsored her. She had no papers, no nothing. So when she finished, they were able to sponsor her, and she's still working with them. So, I mean, if your goal, it depends on what your goal is. If your goal is to, you know what, I want to go somewhere else and be able to work. And let's say you're interested in you know, pharmacoeconomics or something like that, and say, you know what, this interests me. I want to go there and see what's like, you want to look and see, okay, what are my options here? Can I find a job there? Can I be able to establish there? And you want to look for those niches that a lot of people don't want to get into. All right, I'll go back to my presentation.
Okay, we have another question from Khadija. So once we have the equivalency, are we able to apply for a residency program?
Great question. I like that question. So unfortunately, with the residency programs, they require that you be, most of them, I don't know. I think there are a few out there. I didn't research this one. I'll have to do more research. My student, Hanan, was trying to help me out with this. I don't know if she found anything. I was asking her to look into it. But with that, a lot of the programs in the US, they require that you be a graduate of a US accredited program. So it has to be an ACPE accredited university. So if you come from the American University of Lebanon, you can get a residency right away because it's approved by ACPE. But other graduates from Algeria, let's say, I have yet to find a program that accepts them specifically. But the trick to doing a residency as a foreign graduate is if you get licensed. Let's say you come here, you get your equivalency, you become a licensed pharmacist, and let's say you work in a hospital setting and that hospital has a residency program and you establish the relationship with them, then you can get in that way. So it's either you have to be a graduate of a residency, you have to be a graduate of a pharmacy school, it has to be a PharmD, or you have to be a licensed pharmacist. So the way for you to get into a residency, since you don't have a PharmD from an ACP accredited school, is to get that license first to be a practicing pharmacist, practice for a few years, get the experience, and then go to a residency. That's how I see people do it. Okay, let me go back to the presentations. So give me time. So this is just kind of like a snippet from University of Cincinnati. This is 100% online program. As you can see here, this is actually a little bit kind of unique. It's a master's in cosmetic science online program. and basically the networking opportunities are where the employments are available in some of these cosmetics companies. This is another one that I highlighted from University of Southern California. This is the industry fellowship program, and basically you have job opportunities with industry companies. And this is just kind of showing employment opportunities if you go that route of PhD or master's with if you're looking at working with industry, available options for you. Same thing here as well. And then teaching, it also, like I mentioned earlier, with that one graduate from China, it really opens up teaching opportunities because research goes hand in hand with teaching as well. And then I wanted to go a little bit into healthcare management and regulatory opportunities for us here at FDA, but there's a lot of other regulatory agencies you can get into, like World Health Organization or any other pharmaceutical related regulatory agencies, as well as healthcare managements, like I mentioned earlier, MBA in healthcare or other management related, healthcare related jobs. So I wanted to talk about post-grad puzzle tips for finding the perfect fit. Networking is really, really important. So attending pharmacy-related professional conferences, seminars, workshops like this, you're starting here. So I think it's a great opportunity for you to kind of find out what's out there and ask questions and talk to people. Join field-related associations like this association today that we're presenting with. Social media, Facebook, Twitter, etc. Make connections with other pharmacists, research, industry experts. That's really important. I feel like in this day of an age, it's all about who you know, and the fact that we have all these different social media outlets. It's really important to get on there and get yourself out there. Keeping your resume and CV updated. So don't forget to emphasize relevant skills and expertise relating to that field. So if you're applying, let's say you're applying to multiple different areas, different master programs, make sure you tailor your resume to that specific program. You know, personalize your CV, have a cover letter, a unique cover letter for that program or job, and look out for CV or resume workshops. Keep up with changes in the pharmaceutical profession, checking websites and employment boards for new listings and other opportunities. And then I wanted to kind of touch on the funding that we have available through AASTE scholarships. So I am also the chair for the scholarships that are available through AACT. So I wanted to kind of mention to those of you who are interested in applying now or in the future, we do offer some stipends for your application, or just like an award stipend to get books or supplies. So please go ahead and visit our website. You can click on this link here, and that will take you right to where we have 2 specific scholarships or awards. So one for application and one for support. You can go ahead and apply for that. Any questions?
So sorry, I have maybe one comment very important, because I know that you don't really know like the need in Algeria, and many students like were complaining because there is no opportunity to attend to seminars. And I think, as you mentioned, you really support the idea to, like, with this access, the different webinars that are now available, you really support and highly recommend to the student to attend to the maximum of online events. And I think, I think it's a very important point that you mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. If you allow me on that point, I don't know. I think maybe we need to do more to reach out to most Algerian universities. But on my hand, for example, I had an extensive network in the area of entrepreneurship education, and most of my webinars are well attended because of, I have been working in that area for many, many, many years. So we need to, I think, do more in order to attract. On the other hand, also, I post on my LinkedIn page any event, any scholarship opportunities, any funding opportunities, anything, articles related to entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship education, and sometimes funding opportunities in the other areas, and also scholarship on my LinkedIn page. So we have, and we posted all, post also this event on the AASTE LinkedIn page. So we are making an effort, but it's also up to our friends in Algeria to make the effort on the other side to really reach out and find out what's going on. So there is an effort. We need to do more, and we are lacking really. We need somebody to take over our social media department and do an effective job. And we are looking to hire somebody. If there is a volunteer here, we are ready to hire. I mean, there are, and the other thing also is there are other possibilities through our network here in the US for PhDs program, maybe sometimes, maybe not in pharmacy, but in other scientific fields, in engineering, and we post that also on our website, on AASTE website. So we are making an effort, concerted effort to really put out the information. But on the other hand, we cannot, I mean, somebody is looking for something specific in Algeria, I mean, they should make certain effort and reach out to the network. We can guide them whenever we can.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many, I'm really open to working with the graduates, especially the clinical program that's available now. I'm getting feedback from some of the graduates, or like the people that are still doing the program, on how clinical pharmacy is nowhere near being accepted in Algeria. And I understand why, because it's not something that no one has ever been used to. But I'm open to working and doing research with those students and showing how this is really needed, because that's how it got foothold here in the West, or in the US, is we showed that there was a safety issue with medication administration, or there was drug safety issues with drug interactions and things like that. And so I'm willing to work and do research and help mentor the students there to show that, we need the pharmacists to work hand in hand with our physicians when they're prescribing these medications. So I'm open to being a mentor in any way I could. So please, let me know. I have my contact information at the end of the slides, which I'm gonna go ahead and email to everyone at the end of this call. But please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, or if you want my mentorship in any way.
Perfect. So you have one question in the chat from Hanan. So are there any specific skills or experiences that international PharmD graduates should focus on developing or highlighting to improve their job prospect and differentiate themselves in the competitive job market?
Yes, that's a great question. So a lot of these programs, as I was looking through them, they require a recommendation letter and a cover letter. So it's very important to, I understand that English is not one of the, French is mostly what our graduates speak back in Algeria, because they get educated in French. And it's very, very important to find that mentor. Even if you don't speak English really well, you can write something yourself, but get somebody to check it for you and review it for you. Somebody like myself, Mr. Badroni, all of us here in this association. and we can help you tailor that to that specific program that you're applying for, because that's really important. I mean, for me, I used to review applicants for residency program, and if I see their cover letter, is not well written grammatically, I'm gonna be like, you know what, this person doesn't even know how to write. Why am I gonna bring them here?
Yeah.
Or if their interest is not tailored to what the program is about, So it's very, very important to focus on that if you want your application to stand out, and if you want to be one of the people that, that gets that acceptance letter. You have to make sure that your resume, your cover letter, and your recommendation letters are good.
Yeah, the other thing I want to add is the American education system is very open. People are willing to help. And even though they like also to interact with foreign students. So reach out to faculties, reach out and ask for help. And believe me, people respond to emails. It's not like the other way around when you send an email to Algeria and then you get an answer maybe 2 months later. People here are very responsive. They take their job seriously. They're willing to help. Reach out to them. And if they can help you, they will, believe me. It's very open society. Don't be shy. Ask questions and ask for help anytime you can or anytime you need.
And also, I have a question. So many Algerian students, so in the field of science in general, they prefer Europe because of the language, because of like the proximity. And how can you really motivate students to really apply to US programs? And yeah.
Okay, how do we motivate our students? I think starting by this discussion right here is one way to do it. I think now I noticed that Algerian students a lot of them are looking for opportunities outside of Algeria because of the lack of what's available there. They don't have, opportunities for growth, opportunities for jobs. So they're all looking. There's a lot of interest. And I think that it's there, that drive is there. I think it's really a matter of just them taking the initiative. Take the initiative. Okay, don't sit there and complain and be like, you know what, I can't do anything. There's no jobs here, so I'm just gonna sit. I'm just gonna wait for something to happen. Take the initiative. You gotta take the initiative. You gotta take that first step. So I think that's one thing that I noticed in the Algerian student body there, is that they're just kind of complacent, I feel like. And they have to take that initiative. If you want to be competitive out there in the world, there's a lot of students out there that are go-getters. And I feel like that's something that we need to have our students back in Algeria have that mindset of, I need to get out there and do what I need to do to succeed.
Yeah, I think I just want to add something, because something that the association is really pushing a lot for it is really providing information, providing networking events, and also helping and kind of with our network, Algerian students to pursue graduate programs in the US. And I can tell you, Omar can tell you here, I was surprised to find out that there is, I think right now, over 20 Algerian students doing PhDs at North Dakota universities. Things that I did not know. And Miriam also, there has a group in New York, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 ladies doing postdoc there. Boston also, I think I found out there are around 10 Algerian students in science doing postdoc. All of this did not come with scholarship from the Algerian government. They were able to find a way to get here. I think Omar can tell you his story. So there are other opportunities that, Fatima mentioned, that if you are somebody to get to what you want, you can achieve it. You just need probably information and some guidance, and then please, anybody interested, maybe even if I don't know, or Fatima does not know, or Miriam does not know, we know somebody that can help you, or maybe give you good advice if you really want to come and study in the US. And in addition to what I mentioned, most American universities offer scholarship for PhDs programs. So if you have a good science and an engineering degree and and you can apply to this program, go through the process, and if you are good enough, they might offer you, a full scholarship for to get a PhD. So there are other opportunities. When we are over of it, we put it up there, but it's up to you to do the work.
Right. Well, thank you so
Kezia,
much, everyone. I'm sorry. You had
yeah, I
something?
just I would like to introduce our new member, Kezia. Can you tell us a little bit about you? I don't know if she's here. I think she's in North Carolina, right? Or South Carolina? I don't know.
Yes,
Okay.
I
Please
don't know if I
introduce
can.
yourself. Please introduce yourself so we can know more about you, and there is a way ladies can help you.
Thank you, thank you. Of course, yeah. Actually, I graduated from City Medical School. In our medical school, we have medicine, pharmacy, and dentistry. So I know a little bit about pharmacy. I really wanted to know the process for them as well. And I had a lot of questions from students like, do we have an opportunity to continue our studies as a pharmacist? Because I know a lot of pharmacists here that don't work in the pharmacy industry, which is very sad. So I graduated from the medical school, and before coming here to the United States, I did a lot of research about how to continue my studies here. I started studying. We have like the equivalence process, which is taking the USMLE step 1. So I studied for it in Algeria before coming here, and I took it as soon as I were here after like 3 months coming here. And then we had the USMLE Step 2 CK, which is like an exam about the clinical years. And I took it as well, like 8 months after the first one, and I passed it, alhamdulillah. And then I took like an English exam. For us, it's not the TOEFL, it's called OET exam, and I passed it as well. And now I am in the process of getting what they call ECFMG certificate, which is a certificate that allow us to apply for residency. My problem now is getting some experience. Actually, we have to get some research experience, or I want to apply for pathology. So any research in even cancer treatment that has some lab work, that gives me some experience with the microscope will be very good for me. So this is what I am doing now. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak.
That's really good. That's very good. So are you doing research in cancer right now?
Actually, I didn't find any spot yet.
Okay.
I just started a very simple volunteering position in cancer center in Duke University Hospital.
Okay.
And I'm trying to connect with doctors, pathologists, but the answer from them is not always positive. I didn't get any positive answer until now, but of course, I will do my best, even in this volunteering position. And I'm available to work for free every day.
So
That's what it takes, unfortunately, because I talk to a lot of I talk to pharmacy graduates a lot that come here. And unfortunately, especially about 10 years ago when there was a huge pharmacy surplus, some of them just changed the field entirely. They went and did something different because they couldn't find jobs. And some of them went and volunteered. I know a few that volunteered and then they eventually got positions through that because they got to know people, they got to network. So sometimes that's what it takes. They know you, they know who you are, they know your work ethic. And eventually, it does take a year or so of you working for free and volunteering, but that hard work pays at the end.
I hope so. Actually, I want to apply for residency in September, for what I need, like 3 letters of recommendation from any MD, any doctor, anyone in the who have a name on the medical field. So this is what makes me a little bit nervous. I don't have a lot of time. And the residency will not start until July the next year. So if I don't apply in this September, so I will not get the chance until
And those residencies are competitive too. So
They are.
yeah.
Actually, I am applying to 200 programs at the same
Wow.
time to get it.
You
Yeah.
you are perfect example of what we are talking about here.
Thank you. Yeah, we have to do everything. We have to
No,
do
you're right.
everything.
You're right. Yeah. Believe me, I can tell you too. I did the same thing too. For example, when I was trying to find, even though I have a lot of contact in the entrepreneurship area here, and I know people all over the US, and I was trying to work with one university to do work in Algeria, and I contacted over 50 people that I met and friends, and I got only one to volunteer. I can tell you,
Oh.
just if you find the right one, you are going to get the right one. Just continue doing what you are doing.
And for the lab experience, so we spoke quickly yesterday, but I told you really push for it. Send the emails directly to the PIs. Summer is a really good period for volunteers. So we take a lot of volunteers during summer. So really don't hesitate to push for it. Send directly to the PIs. Show your motivation, and it should be okay. And good luck.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, Hizia, I am going to connect you with, like I said, 4 or 5 ladies, Algerian ladies, all doing postdoc at Harvard Medical School. And some of them, I think they are in the cancer area. So maybe someone might know something somewhere and they might be able to help. Connecting,
yeah, it will help.
Yeah.
It will help because actually I sent a lot of emails to MDs and researchers, but they don't check all the emails. But if someone with good position send them the email, I don't think they will ignore it. They will see it at least. Yeah, that will be very helpful. Thank you so much.
Oh, no problem. Bilal, any question? It's only ladies talking here, so it's your chance. I don't know if he's listening.
I think so. He's here. Bilal. Actually, he's the one that exactly that we spoke about. He works with me for like this Immunofrontiers project, and
okay, very good.
Super nice. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I don't know if you hear me.
We hear you very well.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be here with you. Actually, I don't have specific questions since this session is about pharmacy and pharmacy students. As Miriam know, I'm a biologist. I have a master's degree. I don't have a specific question since the topic don't tackle the biology program or something like that.
I have a question for you. What do you want to do in the future?
If I have a chance, I want to be a scientist or researchers in immunology or cancer.
Very good.
He's super smart, super smart guy.
That's good. It's good to have a plan in life, you know, and work hard to achieve it. You know, most of us, I think we have the plan. That's where we made it all the way from here, you know, and it's. I think you don't hesitate to ask help, guidance, information, and I'm sure Miriam is a good mentor, and she's going to guide you in the right direction.
Indeed.
The other thing also that I think Fatima knows that we did a couple of weeks ago, I think a month ago, we did the presentation of the Fulbright program for Algerian students. It's another, I forgot to mention it, it's another scholarship program. We do it every year. It's funded by the US government, and it's like cover maybe 140 countries in the world, and they give scholarship to foreign students to come, full scholarship to come and study in the US to get master and the PhD's program. As a matter of fact, I think according to what I know, there are more right now currently in the US, maybe around 5 or 6 Algerian students benefiting from the program. So it's something to consider also for someone looking for funding and to study in the US. So I think for this year, the application is over, but any information is posted on the US Embassy website. And my advice to Algerian students in Algeria is to check their website from time to time. There are things that happen that we don't know are posted there. When we know, we post it on the association website. But if the Fulbright is a yearly program, so every year there is funding for that type of program. So check it out, apply. If you don't get the first time, apply second time. You might get the second time because it's very selective, very tedious, very few get scholarship. But there are Algerian students coming on a regular basis to study in the US. There is that program, and there is another program for faculties. If you teach in Algerian universities, there is a separate program where you can come for 1 year and you spend 1 year at one of the US universities doing research. So there are these two tracks, but you need to check the website and find out when the funding is available. So
Okay, thank you very much.
yes. And you have Fatima here now, you know her. So every time you have a question, just email her.
Sure.
Fatima, how is your dad doing?
He's doing great. He's doing
Yeah,
great.
say hi to him. I remember meeting him last year in New Orleans. So
I will. Yeah, you should come
Good.
back here one time.
I am coming back.
Anyone
love-
that comes to New Orleans, please let me know.
Yeah. Oh, it's a nice city. I would love to come back.
Yes. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Fatima. Thank you very much.
Thank
It was amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And we hope to see you again on our next webinar.
All right. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. It was a nice presentation. Thank you, Fatima.
All
Yeah.
right.